Hey guys, it's Cyrus of Chaos. Today I'm here with Matyas Szabo, and we're going to be talking about the results of the tournament this weekend in Oran, which is in Algeria. And we're just going to go through the results and just talk about how things went this weekend. So, hey Matyas, how are you doing?
Hi Andrew. I'm good. I think we all had a rough week,
Yeah.
but yeah, everything is fine. Yeah, we are recording it on Sunday. I don't know, 10th of November,
Yep.
and at least for me, everything is fine.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. Uh, since you're not retired, is there a reason that you decided not to attend this tournament? Just too early in the season, still on Olympic vacation, or?
Not retired yet.
Yes. God.
Um, no, I started the preparation for this season relatively late. I continued working after the Olympics. I had almost no vacation, just 2 weeks at home in Romania, and I think I started practicing in mid of September. Last week I was in London or in Britain for 10 days, and I thought it would just simply not be enough preparation. And we just recently started fencing. And I thought, well, I would lose, I think, 4 points for the world ranking. That would be okay. And so I tried to be there in December in Orléans because I have quite some points there, and
Yep.
I will try to keep them, but we'll see.
Nice. Yeah, I'll be in Orleans too, so it'll be good to see you there in person. And it's really important for anybody who's watching or listening to know that even Olympic athletes take breaks regularly, both for their physical and mental health. That's really, really important. If you don't ever do that, like your whole world is fencing, that's kind of a mind game, first of all. And second of all, your body is being put under constant physical stress, and you need a little while to just kind of step away from that.
Especially last season, like
Yeah.
the Olympic season is. And I've seen it in my team. We had a lot of injuries due to the high pressure in the season. Like mentally, I mean, for me, it was I could see it very early that I already or almost qualified for the Olympics. But when I was younger, for example, in 2016, like the 3 months before the final tournament of the qualification, I mean, like I couldn't sleep for weeks. Like you are lying in bed and
Wow.
you're just thinking about the qualification, um, what my opponents should not do, what I have to do to be better than the and and everyone who is saying, yeah, I'm not doing it, like counting and calculating, he's lying
Yeah.
because you have to do it. You have to do it. And in the final tournaments, or where if you have chances still to qualify, you are counting, and everyone knows what everyone else has to do. So it's crazy, and also Olympic tournament is tough, and I think it's mostly a mental break, and also, I mean, after the season, usually my weight goes like up 4 or 5 kilos because I'm not moving at all, and also for me after the long season, I need some break, and I actually just want to stay here in Cologne, and I don't even want to go somewhere. Yeah.
Makes sense to me. So the thing that we're gonna mostly be discussing today is the tournament that was in Algeria. So I'm gonna share my screen and we're just gonna kind of go through and chat about the results. The first thing I want to talk about is that the top 16 fencers were what, these 16? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Until Jagotka, right? Or
I think Yagodka is correct. So
yeah.
Yagodka, who was top 16 going into this tournament is currently number 38 in the world. So a lot of the top guys either chose to take a little break or retired, and I guess we'll know soon which is which. But of those top 16 who were registered, Oh Sang-uk didn't show up, and
Yeah,
he was still registered, which I think was a clerical error or something.
yeah. And I'm, to be honest, I'm even surprised that there are so many fences from top 16 there. For instance, Fajani, Luca, Ali Pagdaman. I mean, these guys, they had a long season, and I'm surprised they felt like going to Algeria. And but anyway,
Yeah. The thing that's not uncommon at tournaments like this is you see a top seed show up and they lose early, either because they haven't been training as much or just mental fatigue or whatever. But
yeah.
there were several upsets in this tournament, and we're gonna talk about them now.
Yeah,
Do you want to start with pools or preliminary round, or do you want to just go into the 64?
I think we can go on 64.
That's where the
To be
most interesting stuff
honest,
happens anyway, so.
exactly, exactly. So, and I mean, we, I just I immediately start, and this is what really upsets me. And we have talked about this before we started recording. O is ranked number one. He is in the tableau, and there is an opponent withdrew because of medical, I don't know what. And after what I heard, he was not even in Algeria.
Oops.
And the thing is, this is not uncommon. I had multiple tournaments where people from or fences from my pool didn't show up, and I just simply had one fencer less, which is not making my chance to qualify for the top 64 better. And for example, Madrigal was 17th
Yeah.
in the world ranking, didn't qualify for top 16 or for 64 immediately. He had to fence pools because Osnabrück wasn't there. And I just think that this is very unfair. And I cannot imagine why FIE is not um, like is not aware of this problem, but most importantly, why the organizing tournament is not capable to just simply change the pools after they check one day prior to the competition. You just check, okay, is there everybody there? Yes, no, okay, we might change the pools.
Especially for something like this, where being in the top 16 is such a gigantic advantage because not only do you get to skip the whole gauntlet of the first day pools and preliminary DEs, you are seated in the top 16, which is a very big advantage. And
Yeah,
so I actually think it's kind of funny that first this kind of screwed Santi a little bit. Instead of being seated 16th, he was seated 17th, which meant he had to fence pools. He was 17th out of pools, so he had to fence the whole preliminary thing. But then it
yeah,
actually helped him because instead of fencing one of the top seeds or the number one in the world seed in the first round, he got someone who didn't fence anybody, probably wasn't super warmed up, and won the bout without too much of a problem, and then ended up making the semifinal.
but still, this is a pure coincidence, right?
Yes, for sure.
Um, so yeah. Anyway,
A very lucky coincidence for him.
yeah,
The other interesting thing at this tournament is there were several Russians who were here, and because the Russians haven't been coming to tournaments a whole lot, I wasn't really sure what to expect with any of them. Some of them, like Trushakov or Tyulyakov or Kostenko, were very strong when they were competing before, but you never know whether these guys, when they show up, they're going to be really good and on point, or whether they're going to be a little bit off. And some of them looked like they were fencing really well. So.
yeah. I mean, like they are practicing at home. They have not too much international experience currently. I mean, it's tough. If you don't know how you should fence, I mean, you can watch videos online, but it's not the same. And I mean, they did quite okay, I would say. But I, in my opinion, the top guys from Russia are not in the team, and so this result was completely fine for them. Yeah,
Right. I think a couple of them made the top 32, but we don't have Ibrahimov, Reshetnikov, any of those guys here.
yeah, yeah. Otherwise, I mean, some there were not too much upsetting events. I heard, and I didn't see the bout, but I heard the two Patrice brothers had a quite rough bout. So everyone who is interested in that, I think you might watch that. Um, but yeah, Luca losing to Nitsu there. I mean, he Nitsu was in the final. He definitely deserved that win, but also I'm surprised Luca was there.
Yeah.
And this is exactly why I didn't go because I was like, I'm not well prepared, and why should I fly there? It's not worth it simply. I mean,
Yeah.
you are better than that.
Right. Yeah. Radu had a great day. Beat
Yeah.
very close in the first round, Karatali, then Ha
Ne
Hansel, relatively.
Neri, beating Neri is also in 64 is not an easy
Right.
bout, right?
That's a hard first round.
Yeah, yeah,
He beat Ha handily, who is someone who
yeah.
fenced really well at the last World Cup of the last season. He ended up getting second, so not
But
an easy path
also,
by any means.
you're right. But I wouldn't highlight the last World Cup before Olympic Games, but
That's a good point.
because usually these like you have to imagine everyone who qualified for Olympic Games was so happy to qualify for Olympic Games. So the last three tournaments, no one really focuses. I mean, we should because it's important for the world ranking, but I've seen it in 2016, not really in 2021 because we haven't had too much tournaments there because of COVID. But usually everyone loses focus and just prepares for the Olympic Games.
Yep.
And fences like Hansol, who are not qualified, they are they can fence freely. So, of course, they are ranked quite good after the tournaments. But he's a good fencer. So, and
Yeah.
I don't want
To minimize for sure.
minimize his result. Yeah.
Yeah. I actually remember in 2012, the last World Cup of the season, I believe, was in Chicago, and I was close enough that I went to that tournament. And Silagi ended up winning the whole thing. But in the semifinals,
I
his
was there.
yeah, yeah.
Yes.
I, I forget who he was supposed to fence, but in the semifinals, his opponent just decided not to fence. And
Yeah.
in the
And Nico
final,
didn't fence as well.
yeah, a bunch of guys decided not to go to the tournament. And then in the final, also, Kim Jong-won had hurt himself in the
Yeah.
semifinals, decided to fence a little bit. And then when he was down 8-1, clearly like not moving well and not trying very hard, he decided to withdraw as well. So, yeah, the last tournament, I agree, is not the best indication of overall skill.
Yeah.
Something else interesting about Nitu's path is he beat Neri, Coratoli, and also Torre, who
So
are,
the whole Italian team.
yes, exactly. So he might have,
Yeah, and I mean, he simply fenced very well,
yes,
and he probably prepared for them really good. I mean, the Romanian team usually prepares very good for the opponents. I mean, like videos and analysis and stuff like that. They are quite good in that, and Torre or the rest of the Italian team, they fence similar. So obviously he had, but he also had a very good day.
Yeah.
I'm more surprised about what we are seeing right now. Pagdaman against Stasiak.
Yes, that was a big upset.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, a couple guys. Karatsuli lost in the 32, so did Paktaman. Um, this result between Torre and Ricky Take was a 15-14 bout. I didn't watch the whole thing, but several people sent me the 14-14 call, and the first one was a very clear attack no from Torre. Like it wasn't a foot down attack no, he literally missed, and the
Mm,
referees abstained, and then he won on the next touch on like a one light pair opposed or something.
yeah,
But that's part of the game, right?
that happens, right?
It does happen. Another person who was fencing out of his mind was Park Sang-won.
I mean, um, after fencing in Olympic Games, you have you have more confidence,
For sure.
and you are fencing way better than you fenced before. You are a different person. After you went to the Olympic Games, you're like, okay, now I arrived at top level fencing. So yes, I mean I'm not even surprised.
Yeah. Yeah, he fenced great. And another person who fenced really, really well was Evan Giraud, who I think this was his first top eight ever. And he did it by
He
beating,
beat Theo, yes,
yes,
yeah. Um, I mean this happens at the first World Cup after the Olympic Games, but still, I mean, he also qualified for Olympic Games. He same thing for him, and he's also a very good fencer. So not really. I mean, Theo, I don't know how long or how good his preparation was, but also far as losing in 64 made it easier to qualify for top eight, I would say.
yeah, for sure, for sure. And it's also I think kind of a mind game when you have someone very strong in your path and they lose because I mean on the one hand your path is objectively easier now that you no longer have one of the top seeds in the tournament, but at the same time if you start thinking that way, like oh now it's going to be an easy path, that is a
You lose.
horrible way to
Yeah,
start thinking there.
exactly. So yes, he Fares lost, but he still had to beat his opponents, and I know the feeling. Like now I can do top eight. Now I can do it, and then you put yourself on pressure,
Yeah.
and that might be even worse than actually fencing the top seeded fencer here.
Yeah, maybe. And the other interesting thing is if you look at who he beat in the 16, Cody G, a very talented young American, he was in kind of a similar situation after seeing that Ferjani lost. He was in almost exactly the same situation. Like both of them were coming off of not having defensed the top seed opposite them,
Yeah,
and like that could be a mind game for both of them even.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you have to focus. Like there, you really have to focus even more. And I mean, I had that at Olympic Games in 2016 where Yakimenko lost, and on the one hand, I was
To Daryl, right?
no, he lost to the Bulgarian guy.
Oh, right. In 2016. Okay, yes.
2016, yes. I'm not even sure if Yakimenko even won one bout, individual bout at Olympic Games. So poor guy. But then fencing against the lower ranked fencer still is a mental game. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Because this guy wants to beat you and you have something to defend almost. But
He
again,
has nothing to lose. He
yeah,
has nothing to, and you have everything to lose.
yeah. But again, it's easy to say that afterwards, but you can't think like that at the time.
Yeah, yeah.
So that was what happened in the earlier rounds. Let's go over to the 16 and talk about what happened at this point. So one of the names that I'm seeing a lot in the higher rounds of these tournaments is Shen. I think Shen is a bit overlooked, but he's really strong. He had a good Olympics, and I think he's starting to get a lot more consistent.
I mean, exactly. He last season, I mean, what really surprised me was the Olympic qualifier, where he beat the shit out of his opponents
Yep.
and he fenced amazing.
Yes, he won the whole
Um,
thing relatively easily, as far as
yes,
the numbers go.
yes. I mean, the others had no chance, and I think he was also in top four Asian championships. I'm not sure, but he really, I mean, also Olympic Games, he fenced really good. He is here on the tournament. He was number nine, but he is a good fencer. He moves very good. He is fast. He is young, and so he's very dangerous.
Yeah, for sure. Yildirim also made the top eight.
Yeah,
Cavalieri made the top eight. Was that Dario's first top eight? I'll look it up.
I'm not sure. I think he already had a top eight, but
Guys like him make the top 16 so consistently. Let's see what his results were. So last season, a couple top
no,
16
top
or one top
16.
16, bunch of 32s, no eights. The season before,
16. Oh, maybe his first top
16.
eight.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think this was his first top eight.
good for him.
Yeah,
I mean, this is maybe one more thing. This is the time for younger fencers or fencers in the second team
to show the world your
to
stuff.
yeah to prove themselves to make good results. And this is exactly what Peter and me, when we were younger in 2013, I won my first competition in Chicago
Yes,
in 2013.
I was there for
So
that.
yeah, and so these tournaments are very very important for the fencer.
For sure. Another person who I think is kind of in that spot is Rob.
Yeah,
He last year he got a chance to fence the Hungarian team events because I think Sotmari was injured and he did so well
yeah.
during the qualification period that they decided to put him on the Olympic team instead of Deci.
I mean, he was simply better than Dechi.
Yeah,
I
at
mean,
that point for sure.
it would have made no sense to fence with Tomasz.
Yeah, but
Sorry,
now
Tomasz, but he simply made better results.
yeah, totally. But now
And
he's showing again why he deserves
yeah,
to be selected.
yeah, and I mean, at Olympic Games, he also almost saved the team.
Yeah, he
Right?
was great.
Yeah,
Patrice and Patrice. It must be weird to fence not only your teammate, but your brother. And I think the two of them are like close to best friends. So,
yeah,
but you have to put all that aside, more even so than you would if you were just fencing one of your countrymen,
yeah.
because you're both there to win. So,
I don't even want to imagine how that's like. I mean, that's tough. That's really tough. And it's always I see my team members Raul and Lewis fencing each other, and it's always a fight. It's always even in practice. There are more emotions, I would say.
I'm sure there are. I also have a brother, and we never played the same sport, but when we played video games
Fortunately,
or board games or whatever, it was always, a big fight. So,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, we have talked about the rest. And I'm pretty sure we will talk about the semifinal and final later on.
Okay. So, it was no surprise to me seeing Patrice in the top four. Actually, when I wrote my top four predictions, I had both Madrigal and Patrice in the top four.
Really?
Yes, simply because of like I predicted once I saw the top 64. Um,
Okay.
I did not realize at the time that O was gonna be
Mm-hmm.
removed. Just I didn't realize he wasn't there, but I
Mm-hmm.
had figured, like you said, the people who went to the Olympics probably would not be at their strongest here. But I think just Patrice wants to win all the time. I know he has been training, so I felt like that would be a good one. I got the bottom half completely wrong, but um but yeah, I was really happy to see Nitsu fencing so well. Park was fencing really well. Also, the bout between them I thought was an interesting match. Um there was
Yeah.
there was one touch in that bout that I want to talk about. Do you remember Nitsu? Oh no, it was in the final. In the final, Nitu fell short against Patrice, then did a reprise, which fell short, and then did a second reprise and got the
Yeah.
touch. Do you
Yeah.
remember
Yeah. Yeah. We can talk about it later on if
that?
when we watch the bout. Um, I was very surprised that it was called short again and no riposte. But most importantly, I'm not sure how, but I couldn't see the whole touch
Right, because
because
it goes off the screen a little.
because it went off the screen. And so I wasn't sure there, but obviously the referees saw it. So I mean, there were some touches. I was surprised that it was given. For instance, 14-14 Nitsu against Park. I understand that he was short, but there is a rule, I would say, that if someone loses balance, the referee should stop the bout. And in my opinion, Park, in exactly the wrong moment, he lost his balance and he had no chance to even touch his opponent. And he just fell, and of course he was short.
Right, yeah. So
And yeah,
the rule for that is it depends on when it was determined that he lost his balance. And I do agree here that he lost his balance before the action started. It was like in his
yeah,
advance, I think his foot got stuck on the ground or something, and he instead of lunging, just kind of completely toppled over
oh,
forward.
yeah, yeah,
But if they determine that the riposte that the parry had already happened at the moment he lost his balance, then Nitu gets one riposte. So it depends on when they feel like the balance
yeah,
was lost.
yeah,
So yeah, like many other things in the sport, there are not good criteria for determining those things, and so a lot of
yeah.
that gets left up to interpretation.
Yeah, and I think there was one touch where Sebastian and Santiago fenced where a referee called or stopped the bout because the blade was not straight
Yep.
anymore. So, yes, but why do they never call it when I fence?
Yeah, it's either
why
it needs
why
to
do
be
we call it in the final, but in 64 or 32 we do not
right.
call it?
That's another thing that drives me crazy. It needs to be enforced evenly, regardless of what
Yeah,
your ranking is, regardless of what round it takes place in. If you
yeah,
feel like that's something that needs to be a legitimate reason to stop the touch, that's fine, but it needs to apply evenly to everybody.
yeah.
So, do you want to talk about the team results as well?
Oops.
Okay. So, looking at the list of the teams and who was on them, it was not surprising to me that the Koreans won the team event, even without their like absolute strongest person. The Koreans just are so good in five touch bouts that I'm never surprised to see them win teams.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, there was if you check who was on this on the teams. I mean, Iran simply didn't change the team at all.
Mhm.
I mean, there was one change of Rabari. Rabari wasn't fencing, but otherwise, yeah, Korea without Agu and without Os are still a good team.
Yeah, for sure.
USA with zero fencers from the actual team. Italy, also completely new team besides of Gallo and Torre, but yeah, I had the feeling they were tired. I think France almost they fenced without Sebastian. From what I thought, Hungarian team was completely new. Check, yes, there was and yeah, I mean yeah,
Yeah,
there was
no,
no Sebastian.
no Seb in the
Yes.
first round.
I don't know, maybe he was just tired or they wanted to let the younger one fence.
No Seb in the
Yeah,
second round. Yeah,
yeah,
it could also be he just won the tournament. And what does your body feel like after you've competed that many rounds in a World Cup?
yeah. So that's completely normal. Then Romania with the in quotation marks regular team
Hmm.
um, was I mean they lost to Korea. Now first talking about Japan, I had the feeling Japan was not on his top performance, not on the peak performance this weekend. Um,
Yeah, I saw Streets lost badly to I think a Russian in the preliminary rounds, right?
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Probably again, like you said, just not a full not full time to get
He
started.
is he is he is a lot more on the golf course than on the fencing piece probably. No, but I mean, Kovalu there, great fencer, so um, they had to win, or in my opinion, Romania had to win this bout. I think against Korea, they fenced with Theo again. Um, yeah, this one. I think they put Theo in for Ozaki. In my opinion, a bit too late. I wouldn't let my. I mean, maybe he was tired as well,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't have changed Ozaki there because he lost 6-4 in his first bout, then 5-4. Okay, you might want to give it a chance, but Theo probably didn't fence, or he didn't fence the whole day. And then against Park, it's a tough one.
Yes, it is. We already talked about how well Park has been fencing recently.
Exactly. So, I mean, Theo was able to change and to beat him there, but I think it was not the best idea. But yeah. Anyway, otherwise, I didn't see any surprise. Well, my team surprised me.
Yeah. Also,
uh,
I don't know if you saw the way that this one finished, but China was um had a very
no,
back
actually not.
China
Yeah,
had a very back and forth bout with Italy. After the fourth leg, Lin really lit up Torre, and Italy was losing the rest of the time until the final when Torre re-clutched it out. After being
yeah.
down 40-36, he put them in that hole and he got them out of that hole at the very last second.
Yeah, you should not yeah, quit fencing although you are leading. The bout is over when it's 45, when you hit 45 touches. I mean,
Exactly.
I have seen many bouts especially 2017 where I was sure I would or we would win the bout and it was not over.
Yeah. This result, Iran beating Hungary 45-36 might be a surprising result on paper, but the top Hungarians were not at this tournament with the exception of Rob.
Yes.
Ilyas was once one of their starters, but he hasn't been for the last few seasons. So
Yeah,
this was not the strongest team for sure.
exactly. So for me, no surprise.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. What was a little surprising for me was that the US did so well considering they didn't have any of the normal team members to start. And
Yeah.
again, you were not there, so Germany was not in its strongest form either. But yeah, this
But until 25-15, we were quite
right.
good.
I was gonna say there was a very specific moment when that happened, when Andrei Nazlimov went absolutely crazy on Philip Metner.
Yeah. And this is just simply experience that is needed to like refocus yourself and not lose 15-4.
Yeah, totally.
Is just and I don't know. To be honest, I just saw the last three bouts here of this team match, and yeah, those weren't quite good.
No, not really.
But I know the guys. They are better than this, or even like Philip should not lose 15-4.
Yeah.
Um, but that's it. This is fencing, and of course, um, this is very frustrating for the team. Maybe also in the last bout, the coach could have switched and could have taken Philip out and the other Leon in, but they had their reasons. And I mean, this is the first tournament after Olympic Games, so this is totally fine.
Time to get some experience.
Exactly. Exactly.
And then after seeing that, I thought that USA had a really good chance against Iran, but Morrill had a small injury in the last match of the last leg of the
Mm,
previous match and decided
yeah,
it's not worth sacrificing potentially the rest of the season to just fence one more team bout.
exactly.
So
It's not worth it sometimes.
for sure. And I think that's something that takes a ton of experience to actually say, like, I really want to keep going, but I don't think it's the smartest thing for me to do that.
Or a good coach.
Or both, yeah, totally. And again, like for me, it was not a surprise to see that Korea won this whole tournament,
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
when you start like
I
that.
mean, yes. To be honest, I haven't seen the bout. I was um, I had no time today, so but still, I mean, this is not surprising. These guys, from what I know, they more or less continued fencing. They might have had a short break, but these guys are starting um, the preparation for the season very, very early. Um, I heard Gu opened his own club, so he might even,
Be done probably.
yeah, and yeah, he was very upset. I met him at the Olympic Games, and it was like, I don't know, individual competition at Olympic Games is not my hobby.
Yeah, he I don't think he's ever done very well at that tournament, right?
No, unfortunately not. I think similar to Yakimenko, who lost in 2021 against me, and this year also first bout. I forgot who he fenced,
Yeah, I don't remember either.
but yeah, you're too. Yeah, I mean, it's
Let's see. He lost to Ferjani 15-8.
I mean, you can lose to Fares.
Yes, especially on the day that he was having right there.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. So that kind of sums up what was happening in the tournament. Um,
exactly. I mean, there were some surprises, but to be honest, there were no surprises at all. I mean, Like on paper, they were surprised, but
If
if
you're
you
paying
see it in
attention.
context, if you see it in context of this whole thing, this period, it's totally fine.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I was a bit surprised of the Turkish team. I thought they would win against USA
Honestly, me
here.
too. Let's take a look at the scores of that one. Yeah, again, just seeing the names on paper, you have people who are a lot less experienced versus people who are a lot more experienced. Some of them not necessarily at the senior level, but yeah, just
But
on paper, I
they,
was expecting Turkey to win this as well.
they had good results individually, and they had good results in team in the past time. So I expected them to this is my feeling to
Eh.
beat the this US team. But
Part of it, honestly, I think sometimes Yaman looks so good, and other times he just can't get it going.
yeah,
That's also a mark of an experience, I think.
yes, yes. I mean, if you have to fence, you have to get into it. You need some seasons to get the experience to fence this type of tournament. It's not the same like junior tournaments.
All right. Matyas, thank you very much for your time today.
You're very welcome.
Talked about a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, I hope everyone liked it. We will see.
Me too.